this is Jerry Work with ProfitDig, and what I wanted to do in this video was take a more detailed look at what a bid looks like in the ProfitDig system. So that's what we're looking at here. This is a bid we have set up for a project. Now, a project can contain multiple bids, although only one bid can be submitted for a project. So we are just looking at one particular bid that we have set up for a test project. So at the top here we have information such as who the bid is going to and our bid rates. Now this is really important. ProfitDig will automatically do the financial work for you of adding your profit margins and your tax rates and your overhead rate and all that to the numbers in your bid items, because you need to make sure that your tax rates are accounted for, your bond rates certainly, and then overhead and profit. All that should be stacked on top of your costs for your final numbers in each bid item. The next section is Addendums and Qualifications, and this is really important. You need to make sure you specify exactly what your bid does not cover. It could be permits, fees, excavation, traffic control, whatever. If it's something that will need to be done for the job, but your bid does not cover that, you need to make sure you are very specific. And finally, we have the headers and bid items that comprise this bid. So each header is a container for a set of bid items, with each bid item being a unit of work. Now if you've done job bidding before, you already know all this, but to some of you this may be new information. So for example, we have a header called grading, and each one of these also has a number assigned to it. So our grading header, 2001 grading, has 3 bid items: mobilization, clear and grub, and strip topsoil. Each of these bid items contains information about the work that's going to be done for that bid item, and the header summarizes everything. So for example, mobilization, we're saying one quantity of work for a total of $8,347. So we're not specifying any other kind of unit other than this is one unit of work to mobilize to do the job. The bid item strip topsoil has 5,500 cubic yards at $7.84 per yard for a total of $43,144. So in this case, we are specifying a specific unit and quantity of that unit. And then those line items will add up to the total for that header. So here's something else that's neat on this screen. This is sort of the simple view of this information. This might be more like what you will actually show on your bid. But if we click Toggle Advanced Details, now we see all this other information, much more specific about where these numbers come from. You know, it shows our rates for each item, our raw costs, unit profit, total profit, overhead, all that stuff is wrapped up in all this. So this is more information than you are going to show to whoever you're bidding the job to. This is for you to see where these numbers are really coming from at a glance. Click here again and it shrinks back down to the simple view. So now let's say you want to see one of these particular bid items in much more detail. Let's take a look at the strip topsoil bid item. Now I have the option to look at details or edit. Edit is a high level view of this bid item. Here I can change to a different header. I can change the bid item itself. I can change the quantity, units, etc. But it doesn't actually contain all of the meat of the bid item, the equipment and your employees, all the stuff that actually, the financial stuff. But you can change your margins here. So if you want to change your margins just for this particular bid item, you can do that here. So let's return to our bid. And now let's look at the details for this bid item. So now this is the meat of the bid item. This is all of the stuff that actually creates the financial numbers that add up to the total for the bid item. So far we haven't added any materials for this one. If I had materials, I would click add and then add the information, whatever it is. Maybe it's gravel in tons, 10 tons at whatever price, etc. That's how you would add materials for this bid item. As you see, we have several employees already added to this one. And this table shows us the employee. We are using these kind of generic names in this case. I think that's a good way to set up your bids. You can, if you want, set up your whole system to use specific employees with specific names. It's however you prefer to use it. We are using these generic names like operator 1, etc. But for each one, we have the quantity of hours for that employee's raw price, the adjusted price, and then the totals. And so the difference here is your raw price for each employee. And if you want to see the explanation for this, you can mouse over this little question mark. The raw price is the unit price. In other words, that employee's hourly wage plus tax plus the bond rate for that employee. So that's basically what your employee is costing you. The adjusted unit price takes into consideration your profit and your overhead. So that's sort of what you're making on the employee. So for this guy, this foreman, his raw unit price of $31, which would also include insurance and anything like that. I'm assuming you have that guy set up for his actual true cost. And this is the adjusted unit price. So we're making almost $10, or I'm sorry, almost $9 an hour, more like $8.50 an hour for this employee, and so on. So it shows you that information for each one of these. And if you need to add a new one, just click add, select your employee. As you can see, like I said earlier, most of these have generic names. We do have a few specific names down here at the bottom, but I select whichever one I want to use. It fills in the rate and however many hours I want to use this employee on the job, and then click submit. The next section is your equipment. Same kind of deal. For each piece of equipment, it shows the quantity, the raw unit price, basically what it costs you to operate that piece of equipment, and your adjusted unit price, which includes your profit and overhead, and then the totals. You have sub companies. Say this was a bid item where you were going to incorporate a sub company to perform all or part of the work. You click that guy here and you just type in the lump sum for however much that sub company is going to charge you to perform that work. And you do set your sub companies up in advance. We've set up a couple, so maybe we were going to hire Mid-America Erosion and charge them or hire them for $50,000. Whatever the case is. And finally, contingencies. We do have one contingency set up for a lump sum of a little over $15,000. And at the end of the bid item screen, it adds everything up along with the total. So this screen shows you exactly what is in this bid item, all the stuff that comprises the numbers. And so as you set up a bid, often you're going to need to go back and adjust some of this stuff, and it's easy to do. Just click the edit button, or say you need to delete something, just click delete. And so that is the detail associated with each of these bid items, which comprises each of your header. And this is a very simple example. Your bids are likely to be much more complex. If I need to add some more bid items, just click Add New Line Item and go through the process. You know, your bid items and your headers are all set up in advance. So each time you add a bid item, you're not having to think about all this from scratch. It's all already in the system. Just make your selections, select your set your quantity, your units. You know, go through here, add your materials, your employees. I'm not going to go through that whole process right now. We've kind of covered that in other videos, and we'll do that in more detail later on. And of course, at the end, your margins, you know, whatever you need those to be. And so that's it. You know, we've designed this system to be extremely easy to use, and you know, to give you a nice clean view of what you're doing. So if you have any questions about ProfitDig, feel free to email us at info@profitdig.com. Check us out online at profitdig.com, or visit our YouTube channel at YouTube/ProfitDig. We post new videos all the time about running a successful construction company and using ProfitDig, so I think you'll enjoy that. We're also on Facebook at Facebook/ProfitDig. So I'm Jerry Work. I appreciate you watching, and we will see you next time.